actually have a ton of content filmed that's just dying to be edited and posted, but I haven't done a story time in so long and I felt like I just had to get back to basics, and wow, I have such a good story for you. Before I get started, make sure to subscribe, turn on my post notifications so you see all that fun content that is coming up, and give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. Okay, so first of all, I feel like I have to start with this because you guys love to speculate. The person that is involved in this story, you guys have never met, you have never seen. I never ever post anything, not even a Snapchat with somebody that I'm dating. Because A, I know it won't last long because hi, it's me, and I can't even imagine going through a public breakup. And B, I wouldn't be able to do a story time about it later. I have a lot of guy friends, I go to dinner with a lot of my guy friends, I go out with a lot of my guy friends, and as much as you guys love to ship me with every guy I know and to hope that I'm dating every guy I know, anyone that you've ever seen me with, I have not been romantically involved with. Not a picture, not a vlog, not even a Snapchat. In fact, this guy doesn't even have social media accounts. Now that we got that out of the way, this story time isn't actually about this person at all. It's about the scariest, most unsettling, horrifying paranormal experience I've ever had. I actually vlogged it right when it happened and I was crying as usual, and I'll link that in the description below if you want to go see it real time. But I didn't tell the full story there, so let me give you a little backstory. As a couple of you might know, but a lot of you probably don't, I lost my great-grandmother not that long ago. I don't talk about that stuff online because, believe it or not, I actually like to keep a lot of those things personal, and I don't want to talk about it online for pity or anything like that. Honestly, she lived a really long, beautiful, fulfilling life. She lived into her 90s, she traveled the entire world, she got to meet her great-great-grandkids. So it's not like it was the hugest tragedy or the most shocking thing in the world that it happened, but I was still really sad about it, obviously, because she was a huge part of my life, especially growing up. And what was worse was I wasn't able to make it home for her funeral, which really sucked. But not long after, my sister called me and she told me that grandma had visited her in her dream. And she told me that it was good and she was nice and she was just saying things about like the kids and comforting her. And I got a little jealous and I was like, wow, I wish grandma would visit me in my dream soon. Some more backstory. At this time, I had just started dating this guy. Right off the bat, I was really unsure and kind of weird about it because as we were getting to know each other, I would ask him like, so what do you do? Meaning, what's your job? And he would always give me an answer that was what he liked to do or what he did in his spare time. And it didn't take too long to figure out that he was unemployed. This was and is a huge turn off for me, not because I care about money or status or anything like that. In fact, I always insist on going to simple, low-key restaurants, insist guys that don't waste money on things like flowers that are gonna just die, never ask for extravagant gifts or expect you to bring me anything. In fact, I always, every single time offer and sometimes insist on splitting the bill because I like having an equal relationship. So it wasn't really the fact that while we were dating, he never offered to buy me dinner or a drink. That was the problem. It was, I'm a really driven, hardworking, motivated, goal-oriented individual. Always have been. And this guy just wasn't. I'm saying it as if he's dead. It's not like he's just a ghost now. Wait, what? When I met him, he had already been unemployed for like a year. And again, the issue wasn't that he didn't have an income. It was that he wasn't applying anywhere and he wasn't looking for jobs. He didn't seem to be driven by anything. I like passionate, goal-oriented people and hard workers. I don't care if you're working on Wall Street, you're a painter, you're serving tables or bartending, I don't care what it is, just as long as you're doing something. And this isn't me trying to trash talk this person at all. He was a really decent guy. This isn't me just trying to like bash this person. I promise it's really relevant and important to the story or else I wouldn't say it at all. But yeah, this lack of motivation and work ethic was a huge issue to me, at least initially. And at this point, it was really starting to weigh on me because the entire time we were dating, he was living on his savings, and that in of itself stressed me out thinking about it. And recently, like 2 days before all this happened, he literally told me that he was almost completely out of money. Like he had burnt through his entire life savings, still had no job prospects, hadn't even started looking at this point. It's important to note here though that I didn't talk about this with anyone, especially not back home. So nobody knew that this was an issue for me/us. So one night, I had a dream. And by the way, I only ever strictly lucid dream. So any dream that I have, I know the entire time that it's a dream, and I have this inner dialogue with myself while it's happening where I observe weird parts of the dream and I compare it to real life. It's weird. Anyway, I was getting married to this guy that I was dating. Well, it was a dream, so like it wasn't him, but you know when you look at somebody in a dream and it's not the person that it's supposed to be, but it's definitely the person, like you know because of the way it feels. And they also share like one feature of that person enough to let you know that it's that person for sure, but it's more the feeling. It's a dream. You know what I'm talking about. You know how dreams are. Anyway, I had a baby baby with this person. So we were getting married, but I could feel that I didn't love him at all. And I knew that this marriage just wasn't right. So the day of the wedding, all of our friends and family are there and there's a huge flood. And everyone got completely pulled under the water and was fighting to stay above this dirty, mucky, flooded water. I finally pulled myself out in this huge wedding dress that's soaked in water and covered in sticks and twigs and little pebbles and muck. And then I climb into this reception hall that was also a barn. And this girl about my age walks over to me who I didn't know, but I could feel in the dream that she was my best friend. She had recently just left her ex-fiance at the altar. And she told me that if I didn't want to marry this guy and I knew it wasn't right, I had to call off the wedding. And I was like, no, I can't. Everyone's here. They're all fighting the flood to be here with me. We spent all of this money. I can't just cancel. I have to commit. And she said, walk away. You can't make the biggest mistake of your life just because you don't want to piss people off. So I turn around and in the corner of the room, facing the corner, I saw a woman against the wall in fetal position. I knew instantly that it was my grandma. Then I heard her start humming the way she would when she would cook me peaches and cream oatmeal in the morning. So I walked over to her. But as I stepped over, I could feel I sound like a lunatic. I could feel the dimension shift. I knew that I had just left the realm of dreaming and entered the realm of astral projection, which is, and I'm crazy oversimplifying this, an out-of-body experience. Kind of like your soul is wandering around and doing things while your body is still asleep. And I don't know how to explain this feeling other than I just knew it wasn't a dream anymore and everything became real. I saw my grandma and she wasn't like any of these other characters that were playing their parts in this weird cutting room floor ensemble. She was real and she was dead. So I walked up to her and I said, Grandma, can you hear me? And she whipped around and she said, huh? And it was just the realest thing. But she didn't look at me. So it was like she turned around to address me, but she turned around right here and said, huh? She looked right past me, almost as if I was the ghost. So I said, Grandma, I'm right here. She jolted her head to me, and this is where it gets really upsetting and becomes one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. Her eyes turned blood orange and started melting and dripping, and then her face started turning green and transforming. The outline of her body became this like black marker outline, and she just started shape-shifting. Again, at this point, this is not a dream. I can feel myself in some other world where I don't belong. I'm telling myself, this is a dream, just wake up. And I can normally wake myself up when things get too weird or scary. This time, I can't, because my mind has already been awake for I don't even know how long. So I'm trying desperately to wake up my body, and I realize I am in total sleep paralysis right now. Then I could feel myself kind of return to my body, and now every inch of me is tingling and trying so hard to move, but I'm trapped literally inside of my own mind, and I'm still seeing everything as it's happening. Imagine being wide awake, but your nightmare is still playing on the back of your eyelids. So I'm in my bed, I can feel my body and the space around me and my bed beneath me, but I'm still seeing this horrifying, bleeding Picasso version of my grandma screaming at me and swinging at me, and even when I avert my eyes in the dream, I can see her out of my peripheral vision. It was so real. But finally, I shake my body awake, and my entire body head to toe is tingling as if it's waking up from numbness. I instantly just break down sobbing. So many things went through my head. Was my grandma stuck in some purgatory or trapped between realms? Was she being tortured on the other side? Do we all get tortured on the other side? Was she upset with me, and why? Was this not my grandma at all and some demon disguising themselves as her to try to get to me? So I call my sister immediately, well, after I vlogged it, and I'm absolutely in pieces sobbing, and I tell her I'm so embarrassed for being this upset over a stupid dream, but it just felt way too real and I didn't know what it meant. So I started telling her exactly what happened in the dream, and when I got to the part about my grandma, all I said was, all of a sudden she looked really scary, and she was like, wait, did something happen with her eyes? And I was like, yeah. And she said, did they turn all orange and runny? And I was like, yeah. And she said, did she start yelling at you? And I started freaking out, losing it. What an insanely, oddly remarkable, specific, obscure detail. And I asked her, why didn't you tell me this when you called me and you told me you had a dream about grandma? And she said, because it was really scary and I didn't want to upset you. But now I'm freaking out more because I'm convinced that something is happening to her on the other side, and we were getting glimpses of who she was now. But here is where the story really begins. My sister called my mom that day and told her about my dream. My mom has a best friend who's like a legit medium, and she, the medium, called my mom and said, your grandmother visited me, my great-grandmother. She wanted me to tell Gabby that she isn't fond of her boyfriend and she doesn't approve of his work ethic, and then ended it with, does he even have any money left? Make sure you leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe. No, but seriously, how? I I'm sorry, that's not a coincidence. It's not. I still don't know what the purpose was or the message behind those scary eyeballs and the yelling, except maybe that I would tell my sister and then my sister would tell my mom and then my mom would tell me. Like there had to be some link between our dreams in order for us to all have this conversation together. I don't know. But the medium also said that she talked to my great-grandmother after this happened, after we had all talked about it. And she told her that I was really scared and upset by the dream. And apparently she started laughing and said that she didn't mean to startle me. Anyway, that's the story about when my dead grandma wanted me to break up with my boyfriend. And hey, I'm single, if anyone's looking. You know how they normally say when you date a girl, you don't just date her, you date her whole family? Or is that marriage? I don't know. In my case, it's true, only it's not just the living ones. It's like all of them. You get all of the family. So that is my scariest paranormal experience. I don't know how to explain why it was so upsetting other than the fact that it really upset me. Like I was very, very upset when I woke up and for days after. And it is some spooky stuff. Anyway, seriously, leave this video a thumbs up if you missed story time. Subscribe and turn on notifications. My book and my song are linked down below, along with all my other social media. And it's time for Showstopper of the Week. This week's Showstopper is Emma RB111. Thank you for all the support on Instagram. I really appreciate it. As always, I love you very much. Thank you for being a part of my family, and I'll see you next time. You're just a ghost.